Hello children, let me welcome you to the virtual class of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher. Children, we are in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic, and because of that we are not able to go to school, but that doesn't mean we are going to stop learning. So we are going to do many lessons which are very interesting from your textbook through the virtual class here. So let us do a lesson in English today. So children, let us continue with the lesson that we were doing last time. So remember, we were doing a lesson in standard 10th, subject was English, and the name of the lesson was lesson number 3.2, The Night I Met Einstein. So today we will look at part 2 of this particular lesson. Now let me just quickly remind you what we did in part 1. We did the warming up activities in the lesson, and we also did the lesson step by step. That is, we tried to understand what the main points in the lesson are and the story of the lesson also, along with some beautiful pictures. So let us, before going on to do the English workshop part, let us summarize what we learnt in the lesson last time using this particular exercise. So we will complete the sentences and let us try and see what we remember of the lesson that we did in the last video. So now this lesson, I told you, was based on music. That is, it was based on the disinterest that the narrator had in this particular kind of music, and he had been invited to a dinner where there was a concert which was arranged by the hostess, and the narrator was not happy about the concert. Why was he not happy about the concert? Because he had no knowledge or understanding of the kind of music which was being played over there. So in the story, we came on to realize many things, and the second thing that we realized was when the narrator turned to look at his neighbor, he was looking at the face of a very, very important, very, very famous person. That is, he was looking at Albert Einstein. Einstein was also very surprised to hear that the author had never heard of Bach. And then there was this incident where Einstein tried to familiarize the narrator or the author about music. So he taught him, or he asked him to tell him something which he was familiar with, some kind of music which he was fond of. Okay, so he said, I like songs which are sung by Bill Crosby, and then how from there Einstein progressed in order to make him understand more about music. So later on, whenever the narrator attended any kind of concert, he used to always feel that Einstein is sitting close by, and his memory of Einstein was the image that he had in his mind. Einstein as a small man with a shock of untidy hair and a pipe in his mouth. And also, according to Einstein, the greatest act towards human beings is, the greatest gift that you can give to anyone is helping him open up the frontiers of beauty. Okay, so this was what we learned in the lesson last time. These are the highlights in the lesson. Now let us move on and do some exercises from the English workshop part. So there are exercises based on grammar here. There are exercises based on vocabulary here. Okay, so we will always keep our textbooks open, children, so that you will be able to follow me. You will be able to do some exercises yourself as well. So come on, let's see this vocabulary exercise. So let us see what all words from the story are related to music. So pause the video and search for the words which are related to music in your text, and then try and check the answer with the answers that I will give you now. So we have many words related to music. So we have the word concert. So concert is what? It is a place where people gather to play or to listen to music. Okay, like we say, I'm going to witness an orchestra. So a concert is something of that sort. Then the next word which is related to music is a pianist. Who's a pianist? A pianist is a person who plays the instrument, that is the piano. Then we have the word tone deaf. Now last time I told you what is a tone deaf. A person who's a tone deaf has no interest in music. He's not able to understand music, thus he's not able to appreciate it. Okay, so he cannot understand between good music and bad music. This kind of a person is called as tone deaf. And then we also have the word Bach. Okay, we looked at the person also. I showed you the image of the person also. So he was a person who was a very famous instrumentalist. He used to play the organ basically, All right. And he also used to compose music. Then we have gramophone. So just like we have our CD players, and nowadays you have your pen drives which you load with music and then you play it back. The gramophone was also a kind of an instrument which you could record songs and listen to later. And then we have a tune. What is a tune? A tune is kind of a raga or a sur that we say in Hindi. Okay, a tune. And then finally, we have Bing Crosby, who was a very, very famous singer. He was an American singer, he was an actor, he was a comedian. So these are some words which I have picked up. There are 7 words which I have picked up. I'm sure when you open the textbook and go through it, you will find many more words. Okay, so add at least 5 more words to this list. So this was the exercise in your English workshop part. Let us move on and let us do the next exercise. So you're supposed to rewrite the sentences using the phrases. Okay, so see, there are so many phrases which are given. These phrases are all related to some kind of action. Okay, so to get out of, to come up, to turn on, to give in, to get into, to come down, to work out, to turn off, to give out, to work in. So these are all phrasal verbs, or verbs which are verb phrases, words which are verb phrases, phrases which have a verb in them. So let us try to fill up the blanks with the proper phrases so that the sentence is grammatically correct. Let us look at the first sentence. Again, I will advise you to try to do this without seeing the video. You can pause the video and try to do the exercise. So sentence A, he dash bed and dash the living room to see if the door was closed. So he got out of bed. See, this is in the past tense. So you cannot write he to get out of bed. So you write he got out of bed, and what did he do? He came up to the living room to see if the door was closed. So basically he came to check before he went to sleep whether the main door was closed. The next one, so what are you doing? Using the phrase, and you are making appropriate changes also to the phrase. You're putting the phrase in their proper form. To enjoy the music and relax, he dashed the music and dashed the lights. So to enjoy the music, he wanted to enjoy the music. He wanted to relax also. So what did he do? He turned on the music. Okay, you turn on the music, means you play the song. And what did he do? He turned off the lights. Okay, so he wanted to relax. He did not want any harsh light coming into his eyes. So he turned on the music and he turned off the lights. Smita dashed to her desire and dashed her favorite toys to the poor. So Smita gave in to her desire, and what did she do to her toys? She gave off her toys to the poor. Okay, so she was desiring to hold on to the toys, but she gave up that desire and she gave off her toys to the poor. You should dash mathematics so that you can dash a problem. You should work in mathematics so that you can work out the problem. See, work in and work out. So work in means you should work towards mathematics. You should pay more attention to mathematics so that you can work out the problem, means you can solve the problem. Okay, so this is the next exercise that we have for you in the English workshop part. Moving on. Now in this lesson there is a lot of talk about music. There is talk about Bing Crosby, there is talk about Bach. So let us talk about the different kinds of music that we have. So we will try and figure out what is the difference between instrumental music and vocal music. Now, as the words say, instrumental music means music made with instruments. Vocal means, vocal is a word related to your voice. Vocal comes from the word voice. So vocal music means music that you create with your voice. That is, the songs that we sing basically is vocal music. So come on, let's see what are the points of differences between these two. So in instrumental music, we make use of instruments. Simple as that. And in vocal music is that music which uses and focuses on the human voice. But remember, the music that we hear usually, see, people like us, we listen mostly to performances of people, or we also listen to film songs. It is a mixture of both. Okay, it is a mixture of instrumental and vocal music that we the common people hear. The next point of difference can be instrumental music is played by one or more instruments with no vocal line. So if it is purely instrumental, then you will only hear the instruments playing. You will not hear any person saying or singing anything. Whereas in vocal music, you will see that it is written. The words are written to a text, either in Hindi, English, Marathi, Gujarati. The words are written and the people look at the words and then they sing it. Okay, so these are some points of difference between instrumental music and vocal music. Moving on, let us look at the next exercise where they have asked us to highlight the differences between light music, classical music and folk music. So come on, you will also try, without looking at the answer directly, you will try to go onto the internet and check and find out the difference. Okay, and then come back and refer to the video again. So light music is less a serious form of Western classical. See, light means it is light on the person who's listening to it. So it is less serious. So even if you're not an expert in music, you will be able to understand light music. Then you have light music is often grouped with the easy listening genre. That is, even if a person is not an expert in music, he will be able to understand and listen to this music. So it is like the film songs that we have. It is all light music. What about classical music? As opposed to light music, classical music is very serious music, which follows long established principles. Okay? And classical music, the emphasis is on elegance and balance. So there are a lot of rules and regulations which have to be maintained if you're going to play classical music. So it is not very easy to learn, and it is not very easy to listen and understand and enjoy also. So it is little serious in nature, the classical music. What about folk music? Folk music, as we know, originates from traditional popular culture. Folk music originates from people like you and me. Okay, and folk music, you will also see, is typically of unknown authorship. That is, you cannot say that this particular music belongs to this person or that person. There is no one particular owner of folk music, and it is transmitted generally in the oral form from one generation to another. So all these songs that we sing during Navratri, or the songs that we sing usually associated with the rainy season, etc., all these are examples of folk music. Folk music also, like light music, is easier to understand, sing, enjoy, etc. There are not too many rules and regulations as far as folk music is concerned. Okay, children? So I hope that explains the difference between light music, classical music, and folk music for you. Let's move on to the next exercise now. Again, this is an exercise based on vocabulary. You have to prepare a word list of occupations in alphabetical order from the letters A up to T. You may skip K, they are saying, and you may skip Q because it is difficult, I suppose, to find out occupations starting with K and Q. You can try. Take it as a challenge and try. Alright. But I will not do all of them for you. This is basically it's a simple exercise compared to your standard 10th level. So as an example, let us do some of the occupations starting with some of the letters. Okay. So for example, let us take D. So with D, you have the occupation doctor. Simple. Then let us move to H. So you have hotelier, that is a person who owns a hotel, works in a hotel. Okay, a hotelier. And then with J, you can say judge. So being a judge is an occupation. It's a profession. Then let us go to M. So you have a makeup artist, a person who does makeup on others. All right. So these are some occupations, and then let us take one more, that is a T. So with T you have an occupation, a person who stitches your clothes, and that is the tailor. So this is some of the examples that I've solved for you. All the others are for you to do at home as assignment. Okay. So there are some more exercises which we have to do. I told you we have exercises based on vocabulary and exercises based on grammar. So this was one based on vocabulary. Let us move on and do an exercise based on grammar. So we have learnt about direct and indirect speech. So we are supposed to write whatever example sentences are given in direct speech to indirect speech or indirect narration, as the question says. So let us take the first example. You are not tone deaf, he said to me. So this is a sentence in direct speech. Why? How do you know that it is a sentence in direct speech? Because see, we have used double inverted commas over here. Okay. So double inverted commas, when you use, it means it is direct speech. It is not reported speech. How can you turn it into indirect speech or indirect narration? Let us see how we will do it. We have done it before also. You have learnt this. So he said to me that I was not tone deaf. So now he is not telling you something directly. You are reporting about what he said to you. Here he is not telling you anything, but you are telling the third person that this is what person A told me. Okay, so he said to me that I was not tone deaf. Next example, could you have done it? Said Einstein. So Einstein is asking a question here directly. There are two people, A and Einstein. Okay, so Einstein is asking A, could you have done it? Now when it is indirect narration, person A is telling B about what Einstein said. So what will he say? Einstein asked whether I could have done it. So here it is not Einstein who's speaking, but it is person A who is telling person B what Einstein told him. So it is indirect narration. We also call it as reported speech. Next example, sing that back, he ordered me. Okay, so how will you write it in indirect narration? He ordered me to sing it back to him. So you can see here we have changed the tense of the verb. You're saying you are not, so I was not. You have also changed the person. First person becomes second person becomes first person. We have changed the pronouns. Okay. When we do a detailed lesson on direct and indirect speech, I will explain all these rules to you. Let us move on and let us do the next exercise based on grammar here. So let us do degrees of comparison. Now we have been talking about degrees of comparison since we were in a very younger class. Okay, we know that there are 3 degrees of comparison: the positive degree, the comparative degree, and the superlative degree. And we use these degrees of comparison to compare the adjectives. All right. So here what are we supposed to do now? Now we are not going to do things like we will talk about good, better, best. So these are the degrees of comparison. We know that already. We know how to write an adjective in the 3 degrees of comparison. For example, we have good in the positive degree, we have better in the comparative degree, and we have superlative degree, that is the best. And if you take a common word, that is we take fast. So in the positive degree it is fast, comparative degree it is faster than, and the superlative degree is the fastest. Okay, so we have learned all these, and we know there are some which agree to the rule and there are some which are a little different. For example, good, better, best is different, isn't it? So these are the degrees of comparison. Now here we have a question where we have to apply this knowledge about degrees of comparison that we have. So what will we do here? We will insert the appropriate expressions, choosing from those given,
after each sentence for the positive degree. So I am not dash than my friend. I am not dash my friend. So see, that means there is some kind of comparison happening here. Okay. So what do you think? What answer should come over here? I am not taller than my friend. So if you write, I am not more taller, it is wrong. I am not just as tall as my friend, that also is not correct. So you will write, I am not taller than my friend. Okay. Next, they are dash their neighbors. They are as helpful as their neighbors. They are most helpful their neighbors. They are more helpful their neighbors. So what sounds correct to you and what is correct is as helpful as. So you say they are as helpful as their neighbors. Okay, so both of them are in the same level. So you are saying that they are equal. I am not taller than my friend. That means me and my friend are the same. And they are, both of them are helpful, the person and the neighbor. They are as helpful as each other. No other desert in Africa is dash the Sahara Desert. Biggest of all, the Sahara Desert, nearly so big as the Sahara Desert, bigger as the Sahara Desert. So it is the second one. No other desert in Africa is nearly so big as the Sahara Desert. Next one. Very few animals in the wild are dash an elephant. Exactly huger than, exactly as huge as, or hugest than. So the second one is again right here. Very few animals in the wild are exactly as huge as an elephant. Some snacks are dash a pizza. Okay, so some snacks are at least as tasty as a pizza. Okay, so I hope you had paused the video and you had figured out the answers yourself, and then you have come back and checked mine with yours. So this was one more exercise in English grammar here. Moving on, see here you have to change the degree of comparison, but you do have to not change the meaning of the original sentence. So if it is in positive degree, the answer also will be in positive degree. So change the degree of comparison as directed and rewrite without changing the meaning. No one in the class is as brilliant as Tanvi. Okay, so the answer would be Tanvi is the most brilliant one in the class. So we have said, now as brilliant as, we are using the, you can say which degree of comparison? The comparative degree. All right. So we are saying that the word as means you're trying to compare Tanvi with the other children in the class, and you're saying that Tanvi is the most brilliant. There is no one else who's as good as Tanvi in her class. So how will you phrase it? How will you use the superlative degree here? You will say Tanvi is the most brilliant one in the class. So see, we have not even changed the meaning. We have only changed the degree of comparison, but the meaning remains the same. A diamond is one of the most precious of all stones. You have to put it into the comparative degree. So see, no other stone is as precious as a diamond. So you're still saying that the diamond is the most precious of all stones. No other stone even compares with the diamond. Okay? Her handwriting is better than that of her sister. So positive degree, how will you put it? Her sister's handwriting is not as good as hers. Next, Jupiter is the largest of all planets. Comparative. We're supposed to put it into comparison now. So you will write, no other planet is as large as Jupiter. He is not the greatest of all leaders. Put it in the positive degree without using the comparative or the superlative. So there are other leaders greater than him. The painting is better than any other painting in the palace. Put it into the superlative degree. So this is the best painting in the palace. So there is no other painting which is better than this. All right. So you can see here how we have changed the word. So brilliant became most brilliant. Precious, most precious became precious. Better became good. Largest became large. Greatest became greater. Okay, better became best. So we changed the words, we changed the adjectives. All right, we changed the form of the adjectives, but we did not change the meaning of the sentence. Okay, children, so that was one more exercise in your textbook based on grammar. Now let us come to the last few exercises that we have. So let us prepare a word chain here. Now what is the word chain, children? See, pianist is the first word they have given us. The last letter is a T. So we are supposed to write a word starting with T, but it should end with E because the next word is E. Starts with an E. So let's see what we can write here. We can write trouble. See, starts with a T, ends with an E. Trouble, trouble. Okay. Then from trouble we write end, E-N-D, end. With end we start with D and we write danger. So the next word should start with R, and that is a rather. We have to make sure that it ends also with an R because the next word starts with an R, rich. So you write R-A-T-H-E-R, rather. Rather starts with an R, which is the last letter of the previous word, danger. It ends with an R, which is the first letter in the next word, rich. After rich, just take a look at the last letter there. It is H. So we have to have a word which starts with H and ends with Y. So you can write holiday, you can write holy. Okay. So again, the choice is yours. So let me give you a small exercise before I end this. A small assignment. Change all the words that I have given you. So instead of trouble, write some other word which starts with a T and ends with an E. So moving on, yellow. So you write a word with W, that is wolf, W-O-L-F, wolf. And the last word will start with F and it is forest. So what is your assignment here? You will change all the words that I have written and write your own words, but you will follow the rule of the word chain. Now, this is the last exercise related to meanings. So, you have to pick out words from your textbook that refers to the following phrases. That is, you have to pick out meanings basically. So, what is a musical performance in public called? A musical performance in public is called as a concert. Who is a person who invites and looks after guests? She is a hostess. If it is a man, you say a host. Which device is used to play recorded music? Now, there are many devices which are used to play recorded music, okay? But we are going to refer to the lesson. So, which is the device that is used to play recorded music here? It is a gramophone. You will be able to see gramophones only now with people who are collectors, or you will be able to see gramophones in museums because they are very large instruments and difficult to carry around also. Now we have much better devices which can be used to play music. Like we can play music on our phones. You can store a lot of music on your pen drives. Okay. So the next one who is poor at deciphering musical notes. Deciphering means understanding. Who's a person who cannot understand musical notes? He's a person who is tone deaf. And finally, boundaries or limits of a field. What are they called? They are called as the frontiers. Okay. Now there is one more word in this book, in the lesson, which has not been explained. So let me try to do that for you. So what does the word philanthropist mean? So a philanthropist is a person who donates a time. So no, don't believe the truth that a person who donates money is a philanthropist. If you devote your time also to someone, you are a philanthropist. If you devote your money, if you donate your experience, that is if you teach things to people, if you donate your skills, your talent in order to create a better world, then you're called as a philanthropist. Anyone can be a philanthropist. Doesn't matter if you don't have a lot of money. Okay. So there are let me show you images of two famous people who are considered to be great philanthropists of our country. That is, we have Azim Premji and we have Sir Ratan Tata. Alright children, so this is the meaning of philanthropist. So this was part 2 of the video based on the lesson, The Night I Met Einstein. So in these two parts, in the first part we looked at the warming up exercise, we tried to understand the story of the lesson. In the second part, we did a quick recap of the story, and then also we saw all the exercises in the English workshop part.
So children, now you have watched the video. So after you watch the video now, you will have to complete a few simple tasks. Now you might have watched the video on your computers or your laptops or your mobile phones. Now after you watch the video, what will you do? You will please go to the description box which is given below the video. So what is the description box? See, the description box looks like this. Alright, and after you go to the description box, you will see that there are a few questions there. Now what are these questions about? These questions are about the lesson that we just learned or the video that you just watched. So what will you do? You will think back properly about the lesson and you will try and answer these questions and note down the answers in your notebook if you want. Okay? After that, we have another task waiting. You will also click on the link which you will find in the description box to fill up the Google form. So now what is the Google form, children? It is nothing but a simple form. There are a few simple questions there about the video which you just saw and also about yourself. So these are the tasks now that you will have to complete after you watch each video. So children, wasn't that a very interesting lesson? I'm sure you learned a lot of new things in this lesson. If you have liked this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my video so that you will get to see all the videos which I keep posting regularly.